Hello, Miss Amaya. I like your first sentence a lot. It's a nice attention getter. Let me take a second and look at the rest of your introduction, and then I'm going to give you some feedback on that. The only thing that I think is really missing from your introduction, if you take a look at the prompt says, analyze how each poet makes his point. So what do you think the point that Wilbur is making is? And what do you think the point that Collins is making is? The position statement that you have here is very much a summary of what happens in the poem rather than a position from you on what you think the poet is trying to do in that poem. I'm going to read the body paragraphs and I'll be right back. Okay, there are some things you did really well in these body paragraphs. I really like your use of short, you didn't put them in quotation marks, but short pieces of textual evidence, especially in this first body paragraph here with warping, boom, terror's claw, and innocence, tiny, musing, wondering. I'm wondering why, speaking of wondering, I'm wondering why you organized the essay this way. Generally, it is not as effective if you organize it by poetic device. So you've got this one on cacophony, and then you've got this one on form, but you don't really talk about diction. You don't really talk about some of the ideas and examples in the poems. And by limiting yourself to sound and form, you're perhaps leaving out a lot of things. It might have been more effective to have a one paragraph on the barred owl or a barred owl, the other paragraph on the history teacher. And it would have helped even more if you would have been paying attention to the fact that you needed to talk about the poet's point. So the point of the barred owl is that children need to be comforted, whereas the point of the history teacher is that children are not innocent to begin with, and if we pretend they are and try to hide the reality of life from them, it's a problem. You could have used a lot of the same examples that you currently have in here, but it would have been more effective to actually answering the question. All right, I'm going to take a look at your conclusion. I think your conclusion's fine for the essay you wrote, but I think it's probably still further evidence that you were missing the point of the prompt a little bit. That they are exploring the difficult task of preserving a child's innocence. The prompt says, what's their point? What are they trying to say? It's actually getting at the idea of theme a little bit. And you're not. You're still in the world of summary. So you probably, it's probably a 4 or 5. I'm going to give you a 5 on this essay because there are some things you did really nicely on it. Think about on your future timed writings how you can do some of those kinds of things differently. All right, thanks.